take it away.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. How you doing tonight? Good. How you doing tonight? Come on, let's walk. All right. It's a small room. We got to get some energy in here. Yeah. So like you said, my name's Keith. I've been in the real estate business, flipping properties for over 15 years now. I started in the Bay Area in a little town called Danville, if you know. It's just outside Walnut Creek. I grew up in Danville, born and raised. Started in the mortgage business. My goal in life was to be a football player. Didn't make it. Got hurt. Broke my scapula in half. Went at San Diego State before I could actually do anything that was super fun. And so a good friend of mine, her dad was the #1 hard money lender in the Bay Area. And he said, Keith, just come work for me. I'll teach you the reins, and let's, real estate's a good, promising career. So I went in there, and I was a telemarketer. And I was picking up the phone, I was dialing for dollars out of the phone book, and I was calling people, 6, 7 hours a day, and I was passing leads over to him, he was closing them, and then as I progressed, he started to, give me my own desk and teach me the mortgage business. And he taught me everything from the ground up, from processing, telemarketing, how to close leads, how to eventually sell loans, how to price loans out, how to process loans, how to underwrite loans. So I was very well versed in that. On the side, he was flipping properties, right? So he was, doing a lot of loans and taking the money he earned from the loans, and he was buying real estate with it. So I was, watching how he did that. He was making a lot of money. This was 1996, 97. This guy's making $7, $8 million a year, right? And in a little town, Danville back then, we probably had 50,000 people, maybe. A very small town, very nice town, but very small. So from there, after I learned that, I decided to open my own shop and give it a whirl. I worked for him for about 3 years. And the first, what I'll say even about flipping is nothing's easy, right? Everything you want in life comes hard, You want to lose weight, you gotta get up early, you gotta go for walks, you gotta go to the gym. You want to be a good mortgage broker, you have to, call a lot of people, meet a lot of people, go to networking events. You have to do a lot of things, right? So nothing's easy, right? So when I first started my first mortgage business, the first year I failed horribly. And I knew everything about the mortgage business. This guy, I worked for the guy, right? Like the king of mortgages, right? And I learned everything from the top down. I think my first year as a telemarketer, I made like $27,000, which, back then wasn't bad as a telemarketer. The next year, when I started becoming a loan officer, I made close to $100,000. The third year, I made $400,000, right? So I worked for the guy. When I went on my own, the first commission I made $15,000, and I probably made $8,000 the rest of the year. And the reason why was, and this is what I do to this day, I keep this in mind, is because I stopped using the principles that he taught me when I was there. So I stopped getting up early, right? I stopped as early. Before I was 5 o'clock, right? I was in the office by 6. I got my workout. I was in the office by 6, 6:30. I was at my desk, I was learning, I was soaking up knowledge, I was doing the same thing every single day to get a result, right? And I stopped that. I thought, wow, I'm making a bunch of money, I made a bunch of money, I'm young, I'm making so much money, and now I'm on my own, I got my own office, and so I was cocky, right? I thought I was, the shit, so to speak, right? So, I failed. So the first year was horrible. I got back to being who I really was, got back in the saddle, got back on the 5-yard line, started running gassers again. And the second year I did really well. The third year I did even better. The fourth year I sold the company for a ginormous multiple because I was making so much noise. I'd hired over 100 people in the company in 4 years. And I was making so much noise that I decided that, you know what, a big company came to me, Steve was one of them, and said, we want to purchase you. And I said, okay, great, how much? And when I saw that number, I thought, wow, this is like hitting the lottery, right? I was young, I said, screw it, I'm done. I sold the company, and I'm like, now what? Now I'm gonna start flipping homes, like my mentor, right? So I went to an area called Pittsburgh, Antioch. Do you guys know that area up in Northern California? It would be considered like a worse Long Beach, maybe, like not a very nice area, lower income, working class people, be careful at night kind of thing, And I was buying 2-bedroom, 1-bath, single flat top homes, and I was buying them for $80,000 and selling them for $100,000, right? And that was, not a bad return. Some I get for a little bit more, make a little bit more, and I thought, wow, this is pretty cool. All right, fast forward, because this is a very long story, I talk a lot. A friend of mine, who's a dear friend of mine, said, hey Keith, why don't we start making this bigger? Let's do some other stuff, right? And I'm like, okay, cool, let's do it, right? So let's start building. Let's start, let's learn how to be incredible builders, right? If we can build, then we can, up our multiples. Flipping back then, I was probably making 17 to 18% of my money, right? Not bad, better than the market. We started building, I was making 50, 60, 70% returns on my money, right? So we started building, right? We started building, 3-bedroom, 2 baths, and then after we got really good at building, we started building a lot of great stuff here in this town. And what happened before that is the market crashed. So now we're in a market crash situation. I'm scared to death, right? He's scared. We're losing money. But then we saw opportunity, right? So at that time, I owned probably, call it 10 properties, maybe a little bit more. And I was renting them out. And the market crashed, and people stopped paying rents. Banks, as you guys know, stopped lending, and I was scared. So I was calling my mortgage friends, every mortgage friend I had, which is a lot, and I was saying, what do I do? Right? And I was calling the ones that mattered. I was calling Steve Abruz. I was calling Mark Mazzillo. I was calling Cheryl. Her mom and dad founded World Savings Bank. And these are people I'd known for a long time. I said, what do I do? They said, Keith, run towards the problem. Don't run away like everyone else. And I'm like, what does that mean? I'm going broke, right? What does that exactly mean? I'm literally going broke in this situation. My friend, I told him what they told me, said, okay, what do we do? And I said, I don't know, let's run towards this problem. So we started running towards the problem. We started fixing the problem. We had a property in Hawaii. Everyone loves Hawaii, even in the market crash. So we were able to sell that property, make $250,000, take that $250,000, I reinvested it, and just continued until the surplus happened. Then, what do we have? September 11th, 2011, right? I'm like, here we go again, right? Here's another massive problem. And I learned a lot from when they said run to the problem, because I made a lot of money running towards the problem, right? 2008, 9, I sold a property in Newport Beach in 2009 when everyone told me I was nuts. I sold a property in Newport Beach for way over what they told me I could sell it for. The market's crashing, everyone's running away. I'm like, nope, I'm gonna run back here. I'm gonna do what I was supposed to do. And I sold this property for a ginormous multiple. September 11th, 2011, it was scary, I was scared. My cousin was in the building. Matter of fact, he lives in New York. He was in the building, he made it out safely, and God willingly. And I was really freaked out about what happened. 2 days later, I hopped on a plane to New York. I moved to New York. I called my business partner, I said, let's go to New York. He said, why? I said, let's just go to New York and see what's going on, right? No one was on the plane. We left here, got on the plane to New York. We were 2 people on the plane. That's it, right? Get to New York, it's mad chaos, right? Mad chaos. Everyone's running from the city. People are running in drones from the city. And we're looking around, I thought, man, we gotta get out of here. This is scary. I don't wanna be in this city. But then I remember what they said, run towards the problem. So I started looking around, looking at real estate, right? I started thinking, wow, this real estate is really dropping in value. People believe that New York City is done, that no one will ever return to the city because everyone's so scared. And I knew that wasn't true, right? I knew that people were gonna return to New York City, right? I didn't know how long it would take, but I knew they would. So we started buying properties in Tribeca, started buying the brownstones, beautiful properties, right? Some were 1,000 feet, some were 2,000 feet, some were 800 feet, but we started buying these 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom properties, right? And I was buying them for pennies on the dollar. People would do anything to sell these properties to us, right? So I had the money that we had probably about $2 million, and we spent all of it in Tribeca. And I'm thinking, man, we're either incredibly smart or we're incredibly stupid, right? Right? And it took a little bit longer to hold them than we wanted to, but we were incredibly smart. I think we made 1,000% return on our money in New York City, right? So what we do with the money, we came back to Newport Beach. We started building a lot of properties. We've built, in Corona Del Mar zip codes, we've built over 100 custom homes and successfully sold them. I've never lost one dime yet in Newport Beach or anywhere along the coast. Broken even or coming close to broken even a couple times, but we've never lost any money. And then here we go again, fast forward again, and here we are again, and gosh, man, here comes another issue, right? Here it comes, right? Dead on. Here we are again, staring at a pandemic, right? Everything's done, walk outside, no one's around. It's like, man, this is, Tribeca all over again. It's a ghost town. It's only me in the grocery store, same stuff that I experienced in New York. And so I thought the same thing. I thought, man, here we go again. What's going to happen, right? And everyone's forecasting, the market's going to crash, and we're all going to lose money, and we're all going to this, and that. And I'm like, you know what? Again, September 11th, 2008, we lived through it, right? September 11th, 2011 was a horrific time. We lived through that. And now I'm thinking like this COVID that they've, in my opinion, made up and made everyone sick for financial gain. Sorry for saying that, but it's just what I think. And here we are again. So again, I'm calling lenders. I'm calling, hey, are you guys going to stop lending? Our credit line's going to freeze up. I've got a ginormous credit line. Is this going to freeze up on me? Am I going to be able to buy properties? Am I have to use my own cash again? What's going to happen? Like, Keith, we're going to stop lending. Everyone stopped lending, right? Everyone, Mark, I'm done lending. The financial markets in Wall Street, the mortgage-backed securities again are done. And so again, I'm thinking, gosh, man, here's another opportunity for us to run towards problems again, right? So we did. So same thing is, instead of building properties, we said, we'll just keep flipping properties. And we got some of the best deals that we've ever had during COVID. So, what I would say, and so that's kind of my story in a nutshell, right? In Corona Del Mar, Newport Beach, we flip. My personal theory is, if you can see water, someone's going to buy it, right? It may not be someone from California or someone from Florida, but it will be someone from a different country. Someone's going to buy it if you can see water. So my methodology is a little bit different. We flip homes that you can see water from, right? So we flip homes that are expensive, more expensive than the average flipper, right? So I just bought a property last week for $6.2 million, I'll sell it for $7.3 million, right? We'll put some money into that and we'll move it. We'll knock down some walls, we'll do those type of things. Coastal properties, in my opinion, is the way to go, right? So that's my kind of security blanket, if you will. Is that I feel like if I'm on the coast, I don't have an issue with selling the property over again, right? So what are we doing today, right? So here we are. We've built hotels. We've owned and operated hotels. When we were in New York, we picked up a small hotel that we still own and operate. We've done fourplexes. You guys know Dana Point really well. Anyone know Dana Point? You know the Strand development. So if you come out of the Strand development, make a right, you see a fence right there. We own that hotel site. We own the hotel site on the very top of the hill. That one we're in escrow right now. We're going to sell. We were going to build that. We're going to sell it. It's a little bit too big for us to build, but it's condo hotels. It's 90 keys. 40 keys are condominiums. We'll sell those for about $4 million, and then that will pay off, retire most of the debt of the hotel. So it's a pretty good deal. So we're going to partner with a big brand and then a big group like similar to what we do. They do it in Florida. They build condo hotels and they flip them and they sell them and things like that. And so we were going to partner with them, and they just came in with the offer that we can't refuse. So we're going to sell that site and then build the smaller site. So we're very active. This is all I do for my life. I don't do anything else except for I do lend money. I still lend private money because it's easy, it's fun, and it's a high yield on money, right? So I can put money out at 10% in 2 points. Most people keep it short term, 3 to 6 months. I get paid back. That's a high return, right? So my theory is to do things that create either cash flow or high yield returns on your investments, right? So when I'm looking at real estate to purchase, I analyze them quick. I put offers in quick. We buy 95% of the properties that we purchase is always off market. On market properties, everyone can find them. Everyone's going for them. And when I buy those, everyone knows what I paid for it, right? And I'll teach you guys a couple of tricks, a little bit later and how we do things that kind of gives you a little bit of built-in security when you're flipping properties. So that's what we do. So, in a nutshell, we flipped 150 homes last year. I'm on track to do, 175 homes this year. And that's a lot of properties, right? That's a lot of work. I'm a very hands-on guy. Most of the time I'm at some site working I've got 20 projects happening as we speak right now. By the end of next week, I'll have 25 projects. We'll have closed 5 more properties. We still build, not as much, but we still build. We're building in Glendale Boulevard, a 4-unit small 4-unit property. In Amethyst in Los Angeles, we're building another 5 units there. We have 2 sites ready to go in Costa Mesa, live, work lofts, 8 on each side of the street. We'll start building that. We're like this close to having city approval, so we'll start building those as well. And then the rest is we're just out like you. We're looking for deals, right? You know, today I went to Tustin. I went to Laguna, which, you know, stay away from Laguna if you're flipping for the first time. Don't flip in Laguna. It's not a good place. I've got 2 stop work orders in Laguna. Laguna is, they're very weird about Laguna Beach. You know, that's very, and I know everyone in Laguna. I know everyone in the city. I partake in the city. I donate money to the city, and they don't care. They call and scream at you. Stop work orders. I mean, right now I'm getting fined $100 a day in a property that someone bought. Probably 2018, COVID hits. She decides, oh, COVID hits, the city's shut down. I'm going to remodel this entire house, right? She remodels this entire house, and it's so nice, right? She put high-end finishes, high-end everything you can put in this property, but she did it incorrect because she's not a builder, right? She didn't do it to city code. She didn't do it to any code, right? She said, I want a new deck. Slap it on top of that deck. I don't care. Just put the deck there, right? So she did a lot of things that are incorrect. So we went to her and said, I'll buy your property for $1,850,000. Now we inherited all these problems, but I'll probably be able to sell it for $3.5 in about 6 months. We have to take the entire house apart of what she did, which a lot of stuff. Cabinets, she put the stairs that are this big, each stair down the stairway. I'm like, why would you do that? I mean, it's just like, unless you're like a very small person and your feet are this big, I don't know why you would do that, right? So anyways, so we buy people's problems, right? There's another property in Laguna Beach I bought. You walked in the door, literally it's a house, looks like a house, a very just normal house. You walk inside, it's completely gutted. There's nothing in there at all, right? The floor is opened up, there's dirt, like you could just step down and hit your face and you're done, right? And people are like, oh, no one will ever buy that house. I bought the house like in seconds. Why? Because that's what we do. I'm gonna tear it up anyway, so what does it matter? Right? You know, I buy properties with all kind of problems. Doesn't matter the problem because we're gonna go in and tear it out anyway. I don't care if it has asbestos. I don't care if it has termite. I don't care what it has, right? Because we can fix it, right? So, you know, we have crews, we have people, and we know how to fix it, right? So, so that's kind of what we do. You know, I try and write as many offers as possible. You know, most of it's 95% it's off-market properties, 5% on-market properties. And that's what we do, you know? So I wake up in the morning, 5 o'clock every morning. I do a lot of yoga. So I get up, I do a yoga routine. I have a little bit of oatmeal, and I start waiting for my phone to ring. And I've got about 100 loyal agents that call, and I got this, I got this, I got this. Now I got Joe, who's calling, right? And I got people who call, and then I go see properties, right? You call me, I'm gonna go see the property because I want to know something we should buy and make money on, right? People ask me all the time, do you guys work with investors, right? People who just want to invest their money, and yes, we do. But only in a very small capacity because our theory is like, not that I want to make other people's money, I just don't want to lose anyone else's money, right? And we've never came close to losing money, but you never know, right? You just never know. And I don't want the reputation of taking someone's $1 million and then not making the money I said. So on a very limited capacity, we will take people's money. So the way we operate is my partner and I invested our own personal cash up to $3.5 million. When that money is out, when we have enough properties and we don't have any more cash to spend, instead of going to our personal bank, we call an investor. And we have 3 investors we've been calling and say, hey, I got this property, are you in? Right, they're in, I split the deal with them. Sometimes I give them 60-40 split because I feel like it's their money, right? It's their money, my experience, our team. So we're partners, but I want to give them a better return on investment. So usually it's a 60-40 split if someone invests with us, if we take them on as a client for an investor. What questions can I answer? I'd rather have it as an open forum than me just babbling around.
So the phone wasn't ringing at first, right? From people bringing you properties.
Right.
How did that come about? How did you build that?
You know, it's much different now, I think, than it was in 2010. You know, I think the market's a lot different now. And, you know, I think we have a lot more tools also. I think there's dialing systems, there's a lot more agents, there's YouTube channels, and also getting the information now is much more readily available. You can get it on your phone, right? I get updates on my phone. You can work with a title agent here from First American Title. Give a little shout out. My mom started her career there and worked there for 30 years and retired, so I love First American Title. And I think that you can get information. So how do you get leads, right? Well, you show up to things like this, you show up to real estate events, you go see a lot of properties, you walk in open houses, you talk to agents, and you tell them what you do. Hey, I am a person that buys real estate. Can you send me anything you have, primarily off market if you can, right? Now, getting off market deals is more of a science, because for an agent, it's risky to send an ordinary person off market deal. Why? Because one, they're being trusted by the client to sell this house off market, which sometimes is not easy for some agents, right? Secondly, they need to make sure that it closes and you're going to buy it, right? So every offer that we write is non-contingent, right? 100%, and it's cash close, and it's as quick as close that I can figure out to do, right? So if I've got 4 other closings and I can't do it in 10 days, and I'll do it in 20 days, right? Or 21 days. Now, if it's competitive where they say, Keith, you have to close it fast, I'll close it in 2 days if I want the property enough, right? And then I'll just let it sit for a while. And we have a bunch of properties that we just let sit because we don't have time to deal with them. Or the other thing that we like to do is buy properties that have coastal views, that are crappy properties we buy for $3 million or so. And then we put plans on them. We work with Brandon Architects or one of the other well-known architects in Newport Beach. And then we will put plans on the properties, and then we'll sell them either with the plans, or we will go then build that property. Right now, people are asking me all the time, are you scared to build? No, we're not scared to build. I feel like, why would I be scared to build? I mean, people are buying real estate like crazy, right? And I think they always will. And I feel like sometimes people would rather buy a brand new property than buy, an older property if they have the cash to do so, right? So I feel like in certain markets, I wouldn't build in Riverside, right? I wouldn't do that because it's very competitive with a lot of the new home builders, right? But in the custom markets, Newport Beach, Dana Point, San Clemente, anything along the coast, I'm going to do it, right? What else?
I'm seeing a lot of those plans, like what you're talking about. You get the plans ready, you sell it with the plans.
Yeah.
What's the benefit of that, like, to somebody who's going to buy that?
Well, I mean, so, if you know what you're, and guess what? You can go to a brand architect and say, hey, build me a cool house, right? And they're probably going to charge you too much, but just show me what a cool house would look like in this lot and help me, do the architectural work to get this thing approved. The benefit of it is that people want new construction, right? Especially in certain parts of Corona Del Mar, you go up on, certain areas of there, and people want that new home, but they don't want to do it. Most people that buy properties, especially in Newport Beach, they don't want to do nothing. They want to walk in there to a turnkey property and probably buy the furniture that's in there because it's probably a second home, and they want to put their stuff in the closet and start living there that day, right? So the idea behind putting plans on is, one, we've already done the hard, heavy lifting for you. We've constructed what this house is going to look like. We've given you images, and we give you a plan, and the city said yes. That's most important, because dealing with the cities is not easy. We have a whole staff that's all they do is permits, plans, things like that, because it's not simple. For the average person, don't do it, right? It's a waste of time because it's too hard, too time consuming, and your job as a flipper is to go find properties to make money with, right? And I don't care how much money you make when you start, just make a profit. It doesn't matter how much. And reinvest that profit into another property and keep doing the same thing over and over again. Wholesale a deal, right, if you have to, right? I don't work with wholesalers typically because the companies that call me, these big wholesale companies, when I run the numbers on what, it's laughable on what they're putting on these properties. And they call me every day. I've never bought one property from them. And every time they call me, if I'm in the neighborhood of the house they called me on, I will go knock on the owner's door and say, how much do you sell this to these guys for? Usually it's 100,000, 80,000. I'm like, there's more profit for you guys than profit for us. And we're doing all the heavy lifting and taking the risk, right? So I don't like those type of things. So I would say if you are going to wholesale, especially in this market now where things are, in people's mind, they believe they're changing, I would just be reasonable, right? You know what I mean? Because, if you're not doing any work, if you made $5,000 to $10,000 just by saying, hey, do you want this property? I mean, I never really got made $10,000 for a phone call. I mean, I have now, but typically when I first started my career, I didn't make $10,000 for making a phone call, right? So, but yeah, I mean, be active. Are most of you guys full-time flippers or part-time or new or? Okay, yeah. So I mean, just be active, right? Get out there, make offers. Don't be overzealous to make offers because sometimes you can miss on a property you don't want to miss, right? You're better off waiting a long time for the right opportunity and then putting your money into that one versus like, oh, someone called me, it looks like a good deal, the margins look pretty good, I'll try it, and then all of a sudden you didn't make any money or they didn't make the money you thought you were going to make, or you got to call me and say, hey Keith, I'm in trouble, will you bail me out? And then I probably would, just because why not, right? You know, I don't mind holding properties for periods of time. What else?
So I noticed you talked about putting 3 offers a day usually, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that you remove any emotion whatsoever from that. You're literally using your numbers or your calculations to just make those offers.
Yeah, I mean, we have, there's all the software now, right? What's Flipper Source, Flipper this, Flipper that. And most of the software is pretty accurate, I would say, if you're just trying to figure out the numbers quickly. Should I buy this property, holding costs? The most important thing is, it's like a car. When do you make your money when you buy a car? When you buy it, right? Yeah, when you buy it, not when you sell it, right? So it's kind of the same thing in flipping, right? You're going to make all your money, and we know we're going to make our money when you buy it. And then whatever, let's say you're going to flip it in 3 months or 2 months, add 2 more months to that just in case as a safety net, right? And then, buy properties that you can buy that are good, solid deals. My returns now, I'm not going to buy anything unless it returns at least 20 to 25% cash on cash return. I'm not going to buy it. It's just wasting my time at this point in my career, and I'm not going to do it. But that's me. I know a lot of other flippers that 10% is good enough for them, right? And that's great. And there's nothing wrong with 10%. It's a fantastic. You're not going to get that in the market. Your money is sitting in the bank. You're not getting 10%, right? So it's a good. You have to figure out what's important to you and what risk you'll take. I'll take great risk at this point, right? Because I have enough capital to do it. And if I make a mistake, then it's like, oops, and I did make a mistake, right? I bought a property during COVID, and I bought this for emotional reasons, honestly, which you should not ever do. But I don't go to Huntington Beach for a lot of reasons. I don't flip there. But someone called and said, Keith, you gotta see this property. It's amazing. So I go, and the people need to move now. They bought a property in Florida, and they just need to move. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I went over there, and I'm like, wow, this will be a cool place to hang out during COVID. That's what I first thought, which that was a bad thought, right? And so I thought, wow, this would be a cool place to hang out, right? And the house was pretty much done. It was 90s all throughout, right? And it looks like MC Hammer lives in this house, right? Beautiful house. Has a slide down to the dock in the back, ocean. It's like, in the marina there. It's like, what is that area? Sunset Beach area, right? Pelee Lane. So, I bought this property for $3.5, $3.6, something like that. And I bought it quick, right? So I knew I was probably making a little bit of a mistake because Huntington Beach is an acquired taste for most people. And most people that come this way and don't know any better don't want a Huntington Beach address if they're going to spend that kind of money. They want Newport Beach, Corona del Mar, Laguna. They want to be like in what they think is the thick of it, right? So I'm like, should I buy this property? Bought this property. I'm going to give you the trick on what I did. I bought this property for $3.6. I told the agent, I'll buy it if you write this thing for $4.2 million and give me the credit for the difference, right? And here's how you do it. You have a purchase agreement for the actual price, and you have an addendum for the credit, right? So whatever the credit is, $600,000, you have an addendum for the credit. Why did I do that? Why do you think I did that? That's one reason I did it, but the main reason I did it was because I was worried that I bought a bad deal, right? Which I kind of did. I mean, I did get out of it, I did make a profit, but if you look at the property, you'll think I lost money because people go, well, Keith, you bought it for 4.2 and you sold it for 3.8. I'm like, I know, right? I know I did. You know what I mean? So I did make a little bit of money in the property, but the reason I do that, I do this a lot. I write these offers like this a lot because two, is that I didn't really know the market there. I've never bought a property. I don't know anyone who lives over there. I've never bought a property there. I don't know anything about Sunset Beach, right? Except for it's too far from everything. That's all I know, right? And so when I bought this property, I wanted to make sure that I could set the market there just in case. And I didn't want anyone to think also that I bought this property for 3.6 because what if it wasn't worth 3.6? It was worth 3.2 or 3.1, you know what I mean? So I did that, and I do this a lot on high-end properties, right? Low-end properties doesn't matter. But on higher-end residential and commercial properties, I always write, $1 million typically over what they're asking and then ask them to give me $1 million back. And sometimes, guess what? I get the $1 million back in cash. I'm buying a property right now in Laguna Beach, a commercial building, where I said, look, I'll buy this property, but you have to give me $1 million for repairs and actually give me the money at the close of escrow. They said, we'll do it. So the property is $5 million. I wrote the offer for $6 million, and I went and sold it to someone else. And so I'm going to make $1 million in 30 days, right? And it's, and so, these are small tricks you can do once you're, once you're comfortable, once you're, flipped enough properties, once you've done some things. These are things you can do to kind of up your yield, so to speak. And when I do that, it's always my money, right? I'm not playing with anyone else's money. It's always my money, and I'm just putting it at risk and hopefully getting a big return for it. What else you got?
So when you talk about using other people's money,
Yeah.
when you get to the end part,
Yeah.
you typically have a pretty good split with them.
Yeah.
And you only use those 3 people, or do you allow other people to come in?
Look, again, we're moving fast, right? When I'm going to see a property, I'm moving faster than most people are comfortable with, right? So most people aren't going to move at the pace that I'm willing to move, right? Because that's how we get these deals. Because sellers are enticed by speed, right? They want to sell a property. They don't want to wait and sell a property. And sometimes they do. They put a property, I went and saw a property earlier. I'm like, why is this property so low? Maybe they're trying to, do that bidding thing where they, list it low and, high. But when I see that, I go in and say, I'll do a 1-day close all cash. That way, tell me yes right now or not, right? So I don't want to play your game where you're going to wait and we'll review offers on Tuesday. I say, great, call me on Tuesday and tell me your highest offer. If I want to bid over, I will. If not, then I won't. Because I don't have time for those games, right? That's a real estate game that I don't like to play in. So yes, the answer is yes. I do have a lot of opportunities right now, a lot. We bought at a bankruptcy sale. I bought a property in La Jolla. It's right in the downtown La Jolla. You know where the Bishop School is? Anyone ever seen the Bishop School on La Jolla Boulevard? So right across from it, right directly across the street, there's an open lot there. It was approved for 8 condominiums. There's been no new development in La Jolla in a decade. So we bought this for $7.1 million, I believe. It's going to cost me, $13, $14 million to build these things. So what I'm probably going to do is I will work with an investor on this deal. It's got subterranean parking. The permit was pulled. So subterranean parking, you guys know what that is? So you go to these buildings and you park underground and people live upstairs. It's very complicated. It's one of the most complicated builds you can do. Most developers don't know how to do it. We decided to take it on because we've done it many times, and even though it is difficult, it is definitely achievable because we see properties like this all the time. What they decided to do is, usually when you see a subterranean garage, we have them all over Irvine, right? All these, Irvine company builds these properties like this, and you go underground, you park down there. Usually it's open parking, right? You can park your car next to the next person. It's not garage parking, right? It's open parking. They decided to write the plans with garage parking, right? So I'm thinking to myself, like, most people now drive an oversized car, right? Most people don't drive little cars. This project calls for people to drive cars that are smaller than what people actually drive today. So what we'll do with this property is we'll go in, we'll close on it in a few weeks. We will redo the plans, architectural plans. I'll change that subterranean garage. I'll make it open parking, change a couple of things. Coastal Commission can be very difficult. So you don't want to change anything that was approved from the outside. You want to change things on the inside. So I'll change things. They're building these super duper high-end condos, right? And yeah, La Jolla can call for it, but La Jolla doesn't need that, right? It's going to be a second home, most of these. So we'll change the finishes just a little bit, cut our costs down a little bit, and then either at that point, the appraisal came back at like $9.5, $10 million. So at that point, we can either sell it that way, right? And someone else can take it vertical, a developer or a builder, or we can go vertical ourselves and then make a profit. It's a 3-year project. People are like, well, what happens in 3 years? I don't know. No one knows, right? People are forecasting what's going to happen. Again, let's run towards the problem. Let's not run away from the problem, right? People in La Jolla, there's no new construction as far as like this type of development in 10 years. So what are most people going to do when they see this? They're going to buy it, right? Now, will they buy at the price that we set? I don't know, right? No one knows. Again, comps are just comps. People buy what they buy, and that's it. So we'll try to set the market there. I'll sell the first one as super high, right? I call a buddy of mine and say, hey, can you buy this for $4.5 million? And we'll sell the rest at 3.8, 3.9, $4 million, right? You know, in 3-4 years, it's a $4 million profit potentially. It's not bad. It's not bad. You know what I mean? But yes, right now to answer your question, I've got a lot of opportunities because we have a lot of properties. I mean, we've got just a lot of opportunities that we've purchased, some that we are going to purchase, some that are development. I love development, right? That's our claim to fame is development. And I love you make so much money on development, right? You learn a lot, you make a lot of money, and people will buy it. They will always buy it, right? So
what's the minimum amount of investment?
I mean, it depends on the project. Like, I mean, La Jolla, I think the total raise. Yeah, I mean, you know, so this guy comes to me a couple weeks ago. I met with him. He says, "Hey, man, you know, I've got all these investors, and they invest 50,000 here, 100,000 here." And I started thinking, like, wow, how much money did you raise? He goes, "I've raised like 20 million bucks." And I was like, whoa. I said, "How many people?" He's like, 400. I'm like, whoa. Like, dude, like, can you imagine? 400 people calling you going, "Hey, man, where's my this?" Now, the safety thing, though, that is kind of smart after I really talked to my attorneys and started thinking about it. I don't know if we'll do this, but I started thinking to myself, like, you know, I deal with whales, right? These people that invested with me are, one's a billionaire. These guys are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, right? I call them right now and say, "I found, Keith, how much? 5 million. It'll be in your account in the morning," right? It's like that. No paperwork, no nothing, just here's the money, right? That's where we're at with that. But I started thinking, like, what if they get mad at me, right? Right? What if one day I piss one of these dudes off, or I miss, right? I miss, and he's like, "Dang, man, this sucks, right? Why'd you miss, Keith, blah, blah," and all this stuff starts happening. Then I got one whale that's, you know, gonna have his attorneys and, right? And, you know, and I do have the money probably to pay him back, but I don't know if I want to grab my personal cash, right? So now I have a problem, right? So when the way the guy's suggesting 50, 100 grand, "Hey, you're pissed at me? Hey, man, what's your wire instructions? 50 grand, see ya. You're out of my life," right? So, you know, I see the pros and cons of that. So I might try it actually, you know, just to kind of, you know, play with that a little bit and see the crowdfunding method, right? See what crowdfunding's like. I don't hate it. It scares me a little bit because class action lawsuits are big in California, right? So people get together and, "Hey, you know, they told us it'll be done in 8 months and that's been 10 months, right?" And some people get pissed and they, you know, they blah, 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 right? So, you know, so that scares me a little bit. But, you know, I think to answer your question, I mean, I think most of the properties would be 100,000 plus, I would think, right? You know, and the thing is, people think it costs so much to buy properties. It depends on your leverage, right? You know, I've heard of this 100% loan. Don't ever do it, right? I mean, it's ridiculous, right? I mean, because if you're taking 100% of the property in your financing, this is the problem we saw in 2008, right? And a lot of people I know are guilty of these loans. I was guilty of them. I had a Washington Mutual or a World Savings loan in every property I've ever owned, except for now. I love negative amortization. I think it's incredible, right? I think we should bring it back. I mean, it's banned, but I mean, think about it. You have a property you purchase for $1 million. Most people can't make that payment, right? So now you have options to make a lower payment. Well, what do you do with the difference? You go buy more real estate. You go buy, your cash flow is incredible, and these loans were great until people start thinking, I can't afford that house. Let me buy it, right? And now your property is, every month is you're making a payment less than the payment due. So 500, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a month is being added to your mortgage balance, and then we had a crash, right? And then the crash happened, and then all of a sudden, now you owe way more than your house was worth, right? And now you're in trouble. What I did during that time, which was a little bit smart, I thought, which people were laughing at me during that time, I was cashing out of my properties a lot. I was refinancing every month, like as much as possible, because in the Bay Area, the Bay Area, this .com era, right? And I'm only 46, okay? I'm not that old, right? I retired the first time at 28 years old. I was done, okay? Like completely done. I mean, like sitting on my couch, doing absolutely nothing. I'll show you the house I owned. I owned the biggest house in Discovery Bay. I had like a 7,000 square foot house that wrapped around this big old lake deal. I had 3 boats in the back. I had a Porsche. I had a Lamborghini. I had a Ferrari. I was done, completely done, right? So you can do it too. It's not that difficult. I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Got caught up in that. Yeah, so negative amortization. So what you want to do now is you want to get a lender, right? And I don't care which one you pick. It doesn't matter. I would stay away from the big box ones. You know, I don't really like the 2 big ones. I like Pivotal Capital. I like Center Street. I like Genesis. You know, I like these are like mom and pop, so to speak, starting companies where the owner still runs the company and understands stuff. You know, Center Street, the owner of Center Street is a builder, not was a builder, is a builder. He builds a lot of homes every year. He's out building homes. So when you go to him and say, hey, I'm going to buy this property, here's the cash flow, here's what I'm going to try and do, here's maybe the exit strategy, he can understand that and maybe give you some different leverage. Usually I'm leveraging 80, I'm putting 20% down on all the properties I buy. Sometimes 15 depending on the deal, but most of the time it's 20% down and then they're financing 100% of the rehab. So you want to get a good lender and you want to stick with them. Don't just jump to the next lender because the rate's, you know, a little bit lower, because does the rate really matter? Does it matter? You think the rate matters? It doesn't matter at all, because think about it. If they write your loan at 10%, which is to me is a high rate, to everyone's a high rate, right? But if you flip the property in 3 months, what's the actual effective rate you actually paid that lender, right? You know, where you have to be careful is when you first start, they want to charge you all these points, right? And then your effective rate jumps up because now you've been paying a point, which is an annual percentage rate, right? So you paid too much. So you want to be careful with that, but you have to pay to play. I did. I mean, I was 13, 14% and 3, 4 points at some points in my career. You know what I mean? And now it's like 7% right now, 7.5%, no points, right? So I mean, you have to pay to play. But I would find a lender that you like, you trust, you have a relationship with, that will answer your phone calls, because you have to move fast, right? You have to beat your competitor. You have to move as fast as you can. And if you're stuck in underwriting, realtors don't want to hear that. Realtors hate that, right? Oh, we'll get the approval in a couple of days. No, man. No, that does not work, right? You have the loan approved in 24 hours. Loan docs in 5 days if needed, right? 10 days. That's for a private lender. You call me to finance the property for you, I can close in 3 days, right? As fast as I can get a preliminary title report, which now I can get it really, really fast. As long as I see the prelim, I'm closing the deal. No appraisals, no crap. And most lenders I just told you about they want an appraisal because they'll probably sell your loan down the road, but all of them will get the appraisal after the fact. Like, I don't have to ever wait for an appraisal. But they always write appraisals afterwards. So lenders are crucial. If you need help with that, I'll help you with that. If you need an introduction to a lender, if you want help with that, I've got that. That's like the easy part, so I can help you with that. You got a title right here. How long does it take to get a prelim right now?
Honestly, depends on location. Orange County, a lot of them can get back same day, if not less
Yeah.
than 4 hours.
Okay.
Northern California, because the plants are different up
Yeah.
there, it takes a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But OC, LA, San Diego,
Yeah.
I'd say 24 hours or less.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I mean.
If you need to rush, you rush them
Yeah.
all the time,
Yeah.
same day.
Yeah. And if it takes longer than that, you're probably not going to end up buying the property. There's probably so many liens on the property and so much stuff.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
I mean, I went in escrow on this property, and I waited longer than I ever have. 511 Cliff Drive in Newport Beach. This property was in bankruptcy, and the guy was like, in jail for 7, 8 years, and he was playing this game with the lender that most people can't play anymore, which is like, I'm going to keep filing bankruptcy, and I'm going to drag this thing. Like, he's told me, I'm going to keep kicking this can down the road, Keith, right? And this guy literally has not made a mortgage payment in like 9 years. Okay, filing bankruptcy. He's been in prison. I mean, he's been in prison for. Yeah. Okay. So I bought the property. I won the bid. Went to court. I have the bid. Everything's cool, right? I'm ready to close. It's $4 million. The property's worth $6 million, right? Appraisal came back at 5 something. I was going to gut that house because it needs to be gutted completely, and probably put it back on the market for like 6, 8, $7 million, right? And probably get it, The owner keeps calling me. Right, hey Keith, and typically I don't talk to owners that much unless it's like, I bought, it's a relationship where I went over there, we shook hands. This guy's calling me on the phone, hey man, let's meet. I went and met him, right? He said, hey Keith, man, can you give me 250 grand? I'm like, what? I said, well, why would I do that? Well, you got my property at $4 million. I said, but buddy, you haven't made a payment in 9 years, man. Like, you've been living here for free. Like, you've got your money. Like, are you kidding me? So this guy, he's telling me, hey man, give me some money. I'm like, no, right? And this guy looks like a mafioso, John Gotti. He's buffed, he looks like he plays the part really well. So I get a call from the agent. Hey Keith, this guy tells me if you don't give him the money, he's gonna kill me, right? I'm like, whoa. I'm like, whoa. And this is the dude who's calling me every day, right? Hey Keith, let's get some coffee, right? So I'm like, whoa, was he serious? Well, he's kind of laughing, but he was, serious enough. Because this guy is a jail guy, and I've never been to prison, but the people I've met that come from prison have a way of talking that won't get them in trouble, but they're still telling you without telling you, right? You know what I mean? Like, oh, if you end up dead, that'd be weird. I'm like, oh, like, whoa, right? So he starts talking to me like that, right? Hey, Keith, I got some special friends, and they have some liens on the property, and they're real upset about you stopping the can from rolling down the road, right? I'm like, crap, man. Like, all right, I see what you're saying. He's threatening me, right? I'm like, dang, man. So, make a long story short, I didn't buy the house. He couldn't close because he wouldn't sign the paperwork because I wouldn't give him any money, right? So these things come up. Don't ever give sellers money, okay? Ever, okay? Ever. For any reason. I know it's tempting. I get asked all the time, hey man, give me 50 grand, I'll sell the house. The reason I don't do it are two reasons. One, early on in my career, I probably did do it a couple times, right? But what happens is, and this guy was gonna do this to me. If I had given this guy 10 grand, which, you know what? It seems like no big deal, right? Let's give him 10 grand. And what I did tell him was I said, hey, I'll buy all your furniture for 15 grand. If you give me all the furniture and you write up on an addendum, I'll buy it, I'll give you 15 grand. That was enough, of course, right? The reason you don't do it is because a guy like that was gonna call me after I did that and then extort me, and tell me, hey man, because it is against the law, kind of, right? And then he's gonna extort me and then I'm gonna get in trouble. So you gotta be careful with real estate. Real estate now, especially after 2000, I mean, you remember the games we were playing, prior to 2008, 2007, 6, 5. I mean, we were playing some serious, some games that, today you'll be in prison for, right? And I don't think they were that bad. It's just that, the laws have changed. In 2010, 11, they put all these new laws in, and everything is governed real hard. And if you start playing these games, you're going to go to jail, right? So it's not worth it. So I would just say be careful with those type of transactions. Even though they seem tempting, because you're going to get a good deal and you see the dollar signs at the end, you're probably going to get in trouble, right? So I would stay away from those.
Do you actually purchase title insurance, or do you purchase a binder?
Yeah. Every property, yeah. Yeah, and again, if you don't, then liens can come up. And in our case, most of the properties we're buying are problematic, right? Someone didn't pay something, there's a divorce situation. There's a reason why they want to go off market and sell their property as fast as possible. There's a reason. Or some people are scared now of COVID. They just don't want anyone in their house, right? And they're elderly and they just want to sell it for the best they can get. That happens sometimes too. But we always do title insurance, and I would recommend don't ever buy a property without title insurance, ever. It's just not worth it. And yeah, title insurance can be a little expensive. Eventually you'll get it down. You'll start talking to the title company, and they'll start giving you discounts and deals and things like that. And escrow, will start, Yeah. So yeah, and just call your title. Don't even think about that stuff. Call escrow, call title. I'm buying this property. I have an insurance guy for you. He'll write the policy on Sunday. Get it over to me. You know what I mean? You want all the people that you can work with. You need in your pocket, right? You just need all these people, just to help you. What else?
So I have two questions. First, development versus flipping. That's two different things, I think, right?
Yeah.
So like, at what point do you recommend people get the idea of getting into development? Because that's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
Longer term goals versus kind of, getting the flipping down.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be passionate about development, right? Are you passionate about this being dirt and driving by it now going, wow, I built that, or I had a hand in building that, right? Development is, it can be risky, because you're going to go through some markets, right? I mean, I just got offered 50 lots in Sacramento in a bad neighborhood, right? And they were offering to me at $160,000 a lot, which is way too much, right? I did the math. I'm like, no way, man. I'll buy them for $80,000 a lot, right? But then you have to do something with it, right? You're making payments on dirt, and then you have to develop it, right? And then it's speculative, right? Everyone gives you these fancy spreadsheets that says, at the very end, you're gonna make this much money because the property's gonna sell for this. It's unknown, right? So I mean, if you're newer to the game, I would just scratch development, right? If you're interested in it, we can talk. But I mean, it's to answer your question, you should have flipped 50 properties before you even consider development. You should have successfully flipped 50 properties before you think about building a property. Because you've got city issues, you've got so many things that can come up that cost you money. Change orders. My friend is nuts. He called me and says, Keith, I want you to help me. I'm going to build this massive home, like 11,000 square feet. He bought a 2-acre lot in Granite Bay, California, Northern California. It's a beautiful area, like incredible area, right? It's Newport Beach without the water, right? It's just an incredible area. And I said, dude, don't build a house that big. You know what I mean? I just said, look, man, right now, where are problems in building? Tile, not getting tile, but getting workers to put the tile in is very difficult. Cabinets are difficult. And a house that big, you have these big sliding doors, and they're expensive. They're a couple $100,000, right? I said, look, man, build something up to 6,000 feet. It's a pretty good safety zone. Nope, I'm building 11,000 feet. So now he went vertical on 11,000 feet, and he calls me and says, Keith, every day I'm getting a change order. I said, yeah, because you can't get the materials. You can't get a lot of materials. So of course it's gonna be a change. It's costing him $100,000 to $200,000 at a time, a change order. I said, yeah, so your build cost was $2 million, which is really good for Northern California, 800 square foot or so. And I said, maybe 700 square foot, sorry. And so you have these things that come up, and you have to be able to write a check. And if you can't, you're gonna get stuck, right? And you're gonna get stuck, and then I'm gonna come in and try and take it properly at a discount from you, and you're gonna lose money on the deal. So, and why? I mean, there's so many this is Southern California. So let's talk about the market, right? Because this is like the highest topic right now is the market's gonna crash, rates are going up. Everyone has, I listen to all this stuff on CNN and CNBC and all these, real estate people, and I've talked to every real estate person you can name that's of name value, and I'm asking their opinion, and every time I get a different answer. So that tells me that none of us actually know. But what we can do is look at 2008, 2011, and look at 2018, 19, 20, where we had what I call the best real estate market we've probably ever seen, right, as far as sales, right? ADRs and hotels were off the hook. And the market changed. For the first time ever, we changed something in the market that never happened historically in my life, which was people working from home now. And you can move from LA to Newport Beach, right? Who wants to live in LA? Not many people, right? LA is cool, but most people, if they had a choice, would rather live in Orange County than Los Angeles, right? So what happened during COVID? Everyone from there decided to come down here, everyone. Or they moved other places. They moved to Carmel, they moved to Arizona. Californians were like, oh, I can work from home, I'm out, right? California, Arizona, Idaho, all these markets that I think are fictitious equity, and so don't invest in those. But they went there in drones, right? They're still going there. We've made Texas California, right? Austin, Texas is, have you been there? It's California. There's Californians everywhere in Austin. It's like, dang, this is California. My buddy went to Carolinas. All these places, I'm like, dude, like, they got bugs and weather and, this stuff. So what's happening with the market, right? Is the market going to crash? I don't know, right? Maybe, right? Maybe it will. But in Southern California, at least, we can kind of predict what we see because Southern California has unique problems that the rest of the country doesn't. One, we have too many people here. Way too many people in Southern California. Compared to the Bay Area, there's like, what, 4 to 5 times as many people here? Compared to most big cities, Southern California is its own, this is a state country, this Southern California, right? We have everything and every person that wants to live here because this weather is incredible, right? Best weather, I think, I've been everywhere, I think this is the best weather you can get, right? Bar none, year round, this is the best weather you're gonna get. And people pay for that. So that's good, that's a positive. Negative is there's too many people, right? There's too many people, right? It's a negative, right? It's just, traffic everywhere. So what does that mean for our market? So for me, it's a safety gap, right? Because in Southern California, there is more people, which means that there's more demand, right? The demand is not the same in Fresno. It's not the same in San Francisco even, because there's not as many people there, right? So we have all these people. So will it correct itself? Absolutely, it's going to correct itself, right? It has to. What goes up has to come down. But the question is how far down, right? And what I can say about the coast is I have only seen it fluctuate 5%, in my opinion, right? People can say, well, it fluctuated 20%. Well, you bought the property wrong when you bought the property. That's your fault, right? You didn't know how to evaluate the property and you bought it wrong to begin with. So of course you think it lost 20%, right? I've never come close to losing 20% on a property in Southern California, right? So, we were talking about this earlier, and I think that what I would say about the market is that you have to, where do you guys flip? Give me some neighborhoods or areas. You went to, yeah, South Bay. South Bay is a very safe area, right? Why? People from LA that still going to work, they like the South Bay, right? South Bay is a little less crowded, a little more scenic. You drive to the stores a little better. Where do you guys flip?
Lancaster,
Okay.
Apple Valley.
Okay, so what happened? Why did Lancaster become great? It's very volatile. Why? Because Lancaster became great because they started gentrifying Compton and these areas, and they started going to Rancho Cucamonga, they started going to Apple Valley, they started going to Lancaster, right? And it's not bad because you have kind of a stopgap depending on your price range market, right? You know, I'd be scared of those markets a little bit personally because when things do go weird, which they're going to, I believe before the end of the year, I believe that those markets will be the first ones on the outsides of here to get hurt. Palm Desert is probably the worst market, right? It's like, it does this, you know what I mean? One day it's this, the next day it's this, and it does it quick, right? Because why? It's hot there, it's mostly elderly people, and there's no real reason to live there unless you're gonna retire, right? And there's no real reason to live in Palm Desert. So it's another fictitious market, right? So I personally stay out of the markets that I think are fictitious. I think Idaho, I think Arizona as a whole is fictitious. I mean, I was in Scottsdale. My buddy he paid $2 million for this house. Everything in the neighborhood selling for $7 million. I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous, right? Like, if I'm gonna spend $7 million, why am I not living in Newport Beach or Laguna Beach or some beach? It has to have beach after it. Why does it have desert after it, right? This doesn't make sense to me. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, Scottsdale probably won't lose that much money because it's a very high-end market. There's a lot of ball players, a lot of retirees, a lot of celebrities love Scottsdale, Arizona, and I love it too. I wouldn't buy a property there, but I do love it, right? But if you were in Phoenix and you go to the greater Phoenix area and you go to one of the other cities where there's a lot of builders and stuff, I think that you have to be careful, right? Again, supply and demand. Why do I have to live in this city? Why? What is the real reason? I think this all the time. I mean, I was just literally, someone called me, and I've never even been to Claremont ever. And I went to Claremont, I saw this property, and I was itching to buy. I was like, man, this is such a good deal. I'm going to buy this house. Like, I left there, you know when you know you're gonna buy something? I was like, I'm buying this house. No matter what, I'm buying it. Like, I'm buying it. And then reality started hitting me the more I drove. I'm thinking, man, it was hot there, for number one. Why would anyone want to live in Claremont? I mean, I get it. It's over there on the 210. It's nice. You've got Upland, and you've got Rancho Cucamonga, and these other areas that have become pretty nice places to live. I mean, Eastvale, $1 million in Eastvale. I mean, it's a lot, right? So, I mean, you know, I passed on the house because I thought, you know what, this is how I get in trouble, right? You know, we are going into a market that I think will correct somewhat. Stay out of those areas. Now, you bring me a deal that's, I'm buying at 65% of value, of current value, I'm gonna buy the property, right? Because worst case, I'll just rent it out. You know what I mean? Worst case, I'll rent it out. You know, that's too good of a deal to pass on, right? So if I'm getting that good of a deal, I'm gonna buy the house, you know? But again, people in this, if we just take a pencil and draw it around here, I don't care what neighborhood you pick in Anaheim or Santa Ana, people will buy it. Why? Because they wanna live here. They wanna live close to all this stuff, right? So they're gonna buy it, you know, no matter what. It might take a few days longer to sell it, but they're going to buy it. The house is going to sell. I put my property up. The appraiser told me it's a 3-unit property, Laguna Beach, 575 3rd Street. If you want to see some of our work, you can see kind of the quality of the craftsmanship there. Total regut of that property. Put that property, they told me it's worth 3.4. I put it for 4.5 a couple days ago. I've got, you know, 5 interested people, probably getting to get 2 offers next week. You know what I mean? So the market's still good in certain areas, right? We're still writing offers. I mean, hopefully you guys are still writing offers, right? You know, Tustin, I like Tustin now. I think Tustin's a good market. Tustin has a lot of older homes. They haven't been redone. You're buying those for $1.2 million, $1.3 million, $200,000 of your money is going into the deal. You're going to exit Tustin at 1.3, probably 1.8 to 2 million. It's not bad. It's not bad. I like Tustin, right? I looked at Corona. I'm thinking, gosh, man, Corona's another hot market, right? Why is it hot? It touches Orange County. It's close enough, right? People like that area. It's close enough, right? Corona doesn't scare me. But again, why do you have to live in Corona? Because you can't live in Orange County. Because you just can't afford it. Right? You can buy a house in Corona, and Corona is nice. You know, the 15 South, that is nice. It's nothing wrong with that. Right? It's a nice place to live, right? But you gotta be careful on how you buy the property. So what I say in these markets where, you know, people are telling you it's gonna crash, well, again, let's run towards the problem, but let's be smart about how we run. We can't write the same offer we were gonna write in January today. It's just not gonna work, right? Because I don't like to buy properties that fit that first-time home buyer realm. So if you're gonna buy in any county, go on to www and look up first-time home buyer, FHA, VA, and you want to see what the loan limits are. I buy properties that are way over that, or a little bit over that, because I don't want to deal with first-time home buyers, right? Because they're the ones that will be most affected with this market. Why? Because they have pay stubs and W-2s that when the rate goes up 1/4%, 0.5%, they no longer qualify, right? At 2%, everyone qualifies. That's why everyone bought these houses. At 5%, that same person that bought at 2% no longer qualifies. Is it a bad market? No, it's not a bad market. It's not a bad market. It's a good market. It's a great market. 5.5% will not stop California. People in California make too much money, period. Californians make way too much money as a whole. I mean, if you look at California compared to every other state and look at the median income in Southern California, in this coastline, they make too much. You know, husband and wife, young people, they make a lot of 200, 250, 350. 5% is not going to stop them from buying the property. 10% might, but we're not going to see 10% again. We just won't. And why won't we? We didn't see it during COVID, right? So I'm going back to memory bank, right? I'm looking at what happened during COVID. During COVID, the market was going to crash. It was headed towards a crash, right? And what did the government do? Oh crap, give them money. Give everyone a bunch of money. Make them stay home, but pay them to stay home, right? So they gave us a bunch of money, right? I mean, it was like, they called me on the phone, that EDL loan, and said, hey Keith, we can give you $2 million tomorrow. I was like, dang man. I was like, for free? I was like, yeah. I was tempted, but I was like, man, nothing's for free. I've learned that. There's nothing for free, right? Every time I got something for free, someone called me like, hey man, remember I did that for you? Can you help me with this? I'm like, dude, like, I thought you just let me in because I thought you thought it was cool, man. You know what I mean? Like, nothing's free. So you gotta be careful. Just buy smarter. Just don't run from a 5%. Are you kidding me? A 5%? How much properties I bought at 14%, 15%, made so much money on them? We are in the mecca of real estate. If you look at real estate trends, where do they go? California, New York City, and Florida, right? That's where they look. That's who sets the real estate trends for the United States, are these 3 states, right? You know, and should you buy in Florida? No. Should you buy in New York? No. Why? Because you don't know anything about New York, right? Okay, I went to New York. I walked around New York, right? I looked at properties, I opened the doors, I met realtors. I learned like, hey, should I buy in this neighborhood? No, you're gonna get killed over there. Buy over here, right? Okay, cool. Just like if you don't know Compton, and anymore, Compton's not bad, right? Inglewood is not bad, right? For the most part, right? I'm just saying, like, these areas are not scary areas anymore. People of all nationalities, all everything are walking through Inglewood like it's Beverly Hills. It's not scary. So things are changing, right? So when you buy properties now, do your homework, right? Average days on market. How long does this neighborhood take to sell? What are the average sales prices, right? Look back. Look at January, February, March. Okay, cool. Set that down. Write it down. Now look at the last 60 days. It's probably a little bit different because the news is scaring people. That's great. That's fantastic. I literally just put an offer on a property, and I'm a gun against myself. I was up in, my son goes to Sac State. My son was the quarterback at De La Salle. He goes to De La Salle High School. So he's a sophomore at Sac State now, but for 4 years, he was the #1 quarterback in the state. This kid's like an amazing athlete, right? He chose Sac State because the coach he played against is the coach there. He wanted to go where someone knew him, right? So I've been looking at Sacramento. Sacramento's a cool market, right? You got the urban market downtown. It's a very flat, tons of trees. It feels like you're in Ohio or something when you're in Sacramento. It's a cool, cool market. You've got neighborhoods that are inexpensive. You've got super expensive neighborhoods. I mean, like Newport Beach style expensive neighborhoods. Then you've got outlining areas like El Dorado Hills. You got Folsom, California. You've got Granite Bay. You've got Roseville, Rockland. You probably heard of these markets. There's a lot of lenders in these markets, right? It's like Irvine. You know, the second Wall Street of mortgages in Roseville, California. These are very, very nice places to live. Like, it's a cool place to live. I was up there at an area called Catavadera. It's a golf course community, right? Very nice, extremely nice, right? It's just nice. So I went up there and I saw this property, and it was $1,250,000. So I wanted to see, what does $1,250,000 buy me in this area? I walked in the house, and I'm like, wow, 5,300 feet, pool. This house is jacked up though, right? And I said, what happened to this house? Well, the husband passed away, and the son started a dog walking business and let the dogs chew up the house. I mean, literally, the walls are chewed up. They had a water leak. They fixed it, but it's all, you know, whatever. So I'm like, wow, $1,200,000. He goes, yeah, man, everything sells for $1,500,000 in this neighborhood. People love this neighborhood. So I go, well, show me the last comp, right? 1,550,000. I was like, wow, this is like 30 days ago. So I was like, wow. I said, well, what's up with the sellers? Well, you know, she's not sure about the market. And again, not many homes for sale in this market, right? Don't have to live here, but people from San Francisco, Oakland, Bay Area proper, San Jose, Silicon Valley are moving up to these areas because they're way more affordable. And just like everyone ran from LA, here they're running from their $3 million 2-bedroom, 1-bath, just like we have in LA. They're moving to a 5,000 square foot, $1.2 million house, and they're keeping the difference in cash, right? So after listening to the agent, and you know, when you talk to an agent the first time, never tell them you're a flipper, okay? That's like telling them, you know, you got COVID, right? Don't tell them. Just, I'm here to see the house, right? And just educate yourself. So after listening to them, I thought, you know what? I'm just gonna try this Northern California market. I just wanna see what happens, right? So I went and said, okay, I'm gonna write an offer with you. And he goes, okay, what's the offer? I said, $975. The guy literally laughed at me. He goes, ha ha ha, that's funny. I go, why? I go, nothing's selling right now. I go, the last comp you had was a much nicer home. I said, so $1,250,000. I said, this house is never gonna sell for $1,250,000. He goes, well, how do you know? I go, because it's just not. I mean, it's not curb appeal condition. People don't want to move from the Silicon Valley. So I'm talking this guy into why no one's gonna buy this house. I never told him what I do for a living, by the way, okay? Ever. I just said, hey, here's I'm gonna buy this house, right? And in this case, I wrote this offer in my personal name, which I never, ever, ever do. But I knew to be competitive, they need to think I wanna live there, right? So I wrote this in my personal name, okay? My company is named Kelly Flips, right? People know what I do, right? It's like there's no BS, right? So I wrote it in my personal name, right? They accepted my offer, okay? Now, I wish they hadn't, a little bit, right? Just a little bit, right? Not because it's not a good deal. I think I got a good deal. But the crew that I have in Northern California that I work with is the builder who's building my buddy's 11,000 square foot home. That guy is building this 11,000 square foot home for $800 a square foot. I could build that home better than he's building that home for $350 a square foot, right? Right now, in this market right now. So I'm like, man, these costs are high. So I call the guy and say, hey man, I want to do countertops, flooring. I want to probably knock these bathrooms out. I want to put new bathrooms in, and I want to fix all the other stuff and fix the pool. I said, well, what do you think that's going to cost? Oh, I'll keep cabinets for $300 a square foot. I'm like, whoa. You know, he's quoting me all these prices. I'm like, whoa. My average cost of a flip right now is about $40 to $50 a square foot, right, to rehab this property, rebuild this property the way I think it should be. Inside, not outside, inside. So I just bought this house. I'm a little nervous, right? But at the end of the day, I just proved to myself that people are watching the news, sellers are watching the news, and they're scared. They're going, oh man, there's so much inventory, which there's not, right? There's just not. But if you're an emotional seller, you want to move for a reason, right? You put your house on the market because you want to go somewhere else. You want to get to Arizona before you can't, right? In your mind, I got to get this house before I can. So you're emotional and you're nervous. And realtors, same thing. Some of them are getting a little like, oh man, Keith, I don't know. I'm like, what's there not to know? Like this is ridiculous. I mean, we're not in Fresno. And nothing wrong with Fresno. There's some beautiful homes in Fresno, like big ones, expensive homes in Fresno. Those farmers make a lot of money, right? And how far is Fresno from Beverly Hills? Not that far. So what happened to Beverly Hills? A lot of those people moved to Fresno, right? So it's not a bad deal. But it's not for me, but I'm just saying, like, it's not a bad place, right? I'm not talking down about Fresno. So just do things differently, right? But this market is 5.5% interest rates. I mean, that's incredible money. That's still great money, right? It's not bad money, you know? Just do it differently. Slow down, look at comps, talk to people more, talk to them, understand where they're coming from. Why is this person selling this property? If it's off market, it's a little bit harder, you know, sometimes. Why is it off market? Oh, they're old, and they don't want anyone walking. Okay, I understand that. Okay, well, what's the best deal I can get? Oh, okay, whatever they tell you, the realtors tell you, they're lying to you. Sorry, I'm just saying, right? So then you have to cut that offer down. I do a lot, because why not? I said $975. It's listed for $1,250,000, right? And I got the property at $975, right? You know, you just never know, right? The one that I was going to wholesale to Joe, I bought the San Marcos. I don't know anything about San Marcos. I drive down there. I like going to San Diego, and my buddy has a house in Rancho Santa Fe, a beautiful one. And you know, someone called me to Keith, San Marcos, and I have a property for $889,000. I was like, oh, really? What's it worth? I don't know, $950. I'm like, oh, that's not enough. I'm like, I'm not buying that property, right? What's the situation? Oh, the lady is in trouble. Her husband left, and they're getting divorced, and she's been doing alternative jobs to support herself. And, I said, okay, well, what's the offer? Well, they have 2 offers now. I said, okay, well, let's just wait, right? So I said, just call me back. So I didn't realize this property was a notice of default property. I didn't look that much into it, right? So when I realized that, I go, huh? I go, well, when's the sale date? Oh, it's 20 days away. I go, huh, okay. So what's the offer again? Full price offer this lady has, right? They want a $5,000 credit because there's termites. Now, termite's an interesting thing, right? I can show you how to check for termite. Most companies that tell you there's termite, there's not termite, okay? Most times. So you have to learn how to check for termite, which I'll teach you in a second. So I said, okay, termite. Well, how much damage? Oh, $4,000. That means there's $1,000, okay, if it's there, right? Okay, great. All right, cool. So are they going to do it? She goes, no, she's going to probably back out. I'm like, really? For a couple grand credit? That's weird. She backs out. All right, Keith, you're up, buddy. What do you want to offer? $850, $860? I go, $710. Take it or leave it, man. Take it or leave it deal. I'll close in 10 days or less. Take it or leave it. Well, Keith, that's take it or leave it. Just go tell her. You have nothing to lose by telling the seller. The next day after my offer, she gets another notice of sale date, and she's freaked out. Oh, I can't believe I'm going to lose this property. I'm never going to sell it. It's never going to sell. No one wants because there's termite. I bought the property, right? And I don't know St. Marcos very well, so I was scared. I bought this property. Actually, I called Joe. It's funny, Joe. When I got that property, I didn't actually close on it that day because there was a bunch of liens that had to get cleared up. So I did the most risky thing, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I knew we were going to close within the next 5 days. I already wired out my money to escrow and everything, but the escrow was having problems getting some payoffs and stuff. So I started the rehab, right? Which is stupid. It's so dumb. Because what if this didn't close, right? So I said to my team, go in there right now and paint this house. Paint the inside, get my flooring, put it in the garage. Like, let's get this house going. And then we closed last Tuesday, and the house is going back on the market this coming Tuesday, right? So within a week, in 4 days probably, I got this house like 100% ready to go. New flooring, countertops, painted the cabinets, and stuff like that. So you just don't be scared to ask. It doesn't hurt. All they could have said is no, right? And I got a good deal that will return over 20% on my money, right? So you just ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. Just ask people. There are good deals right now. People are scared. Why are they scared? Because the average person watches CNBC, CNN, and talks to the neighbor. Oh, we're going to lose money in real estate. Oh, man. Here we go again, another 2008. I mean, how could you even think that? We just had 2008 in COVID. They gave us a bunch of money. They gave everyone, people quit their jobs. Americans are lazy, right? We don't want to work anymore because they're giving free money, right? I'm just saying, they're not, right? They're giving free money away. So this is the market. I love this market. I think this is the opportunity market. Because we can go buy stuff that we ordinarily couldn't buy for a lot less. For a lot less. Ask for things. Ask for seller carrybacks. Why not? What are they going to say? No, right? Ask for things that you wouldn't ordinarily get. Write the offer for $1 million over, $500,000 over. I don't care. Give me a credit. Pay all my closing costs. Ask for stuff because people are thinking, oh man, if I don't take this offer, I may not get another one, right? People are scared, and there's still builders. People still buy. I mean, you guys seen that Rancho Marietta out there? I mean, Rancho Mission Viejo or whatever, right? I went out there. I was like, wow, this is nuts. This area is like way out here, and they are selling this for what I think is a discount to live in Orange County, $700, $800, $900. But I mean, you can't get one of these new homes. So people that live outside this place, everyone's flocking to this new development. They're going, oh man, am I going to sell my house because everyone wants that new house, right? And builders aren't going to stop. People keep telling me, oh, builders are going to lower the price. No, they're not. They're going to raise the price. They are going to continue to raise prices per phase because people in California are going to continue to buy. Trends tell us that 5.5%, 6% rates are not going to stop this state. So they are going to continue to raise prices. So as long as you're competing with that, you have a good market. Again, be careful. I'm not saying don't go to other areas, outliner areas. Just when you do it, just be more careful. Look at things a little harder. What else we got? We're good? Any questions I can answer on? Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier, almost all your deals are off market.
Yeah.
You mentioned, relationship with agents. So
Yeah.
is that your main method, just building relationships with agents, or are you have
I mean,
cold calling and things like that, or?
I don't do any cold calling any longer, and at this point, you'll get to a point in your career where people will get to know you if you're buying a lot of properties, and they know you'll buy, so the agent can market this property to death, or they can call me, and I'm probably gonna, if it's a good deal, I'm going to buy it. Like, I've bought properties sight unseen. Like, if it's a good enough deal, we're gonna buy it. Like, there's no questions asked, we're gonna buy the property. So, you start developing that reputation, and agents start going, oh, okay, this person will probably buy this off-market property, and the probabilities they know are pretty high. So you start, but yes, I mean, it's good to talk to agents, right? And there's a million agents. What do agents do? Most of them do no business, right? Most agents don't sell any homes. It's just reality, right? So you just, go to the top ones and ask them, hey, what do you have? It doesn't hurt, right? It doesn't hurt, right? It doesn't matter, you know what I mean? Because guess what? If they give you one you can't buy, call me, right? We'll buy it together. I'll make you some money, right? You know what I mean? So there's always a way.
What's a good way to get like a list of top agents in certain markets?
You can go. I mean, now Google, right? Top. Or go by office, right? You can go by office. You can search. I mean, I like Sotheby's. I mean, I like all the companies. Honestly, they're all.
Work with a lender that pays for that kind of.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Because I mean, the lenders now have this site that's very expensive that you won't want to pay for. That you can see who does how much business.
Okay.
So you can go, oh, this person's not. They're full of it, man. They look the part, but they don't do any business, right?
Yeah.
And then they can tell you, hey, does Susie sell any homes? Oh man, she's 3 homes last year. Right, okay, so, I'm not saying don't work with them, because guess what? I'll tell you a story. When I did live in that big fancy house in Northern California, there was an agent, her name was Krista Miller, okay? Looks the part, I thought, man, this girl must be the #1 agent in this town. I walked up and talked to her at one of these small events. She goes, I just got my license. I'm like, whoa, what? I was blown. Somebody you just look at, you're like, that person's rich, right? I mean, she looked the part, had a big old ring. I'm like, dude, this person looks the part. Right? So I started talking with her. I was like, man, so what's your plan? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. So I was thinking, like, this girl ain't never going to make it, man. Guess what? She's in the top 1% of all realtors today in California. No one almost sells more homes than her. She sells 400 homes a year by herself. This one person, right? You know what I mean? So don't overlook someone just because you may not do any business. Ask her plan and what she's going to do. And I was lucky enough to do a couple hard money loans for her. She's a good person, right? And now she's doing the talk and the book, and she'll probably be on some reality shows soon and stuff like that, right? But that's not my methodology. I've been on those shows. I've been featured on 10 real estate TV shows, and it's not for me, right? I don't like the camera in my face and tell them this, tell them that. Like, no, I'm gonna tell them what I tell them, because I know this market better than you know this market, right? So I mean, these shows are full of crap. These people on these shows aren't as good as they say they are. Because I can show you stuff that is not true about these shows, and you'll go, oh, it looks good, but it's not true, right? So do what you're doing. Don't feel bad, right? I've been doing this for a long time, right? You want to become me? Great. If you don't, it doesn't matter. Whatever. If you want to flip 3 homes, a home a quarter, that's a good thing. What's wrong with that? A home a quarter, right? Take your time. You probably don't have a crew to flip a home in 2 weeks. I mean, you did. He got it done, trial and error. And you can. You can Google trades. Let me find a flooring guy. And guess what? I don't care. If you can work, you work with me. I don't care if you have a license. I don't care about any of that stuff. Because some of the people, the best workers I have no license. I can't even talk to them. I don't speak Spanish, right? But guess what? I know when I call them, they're going to show up early, and they're going to get the job done, right? Even more so than these big general contractor companies that say, we'll help you flip a house. Well, guess what? What are they doing? They're marketing things up 15, 20%, and they're working with all of you. And you think now I got someone to help me. Yeah, but you could have just gone down to Home Depot and got that guy. He's a better floorer than those guys. 10 times better, right? And don't be scared. Why not? Try them out. Doesn't hurt. It does not hurt to try them out, right? Up there, I got a Russian crew. These guys are incredible. I mean, these guys could knock a property down in 2 weeks, no matter what. I mean, I've had them change faces of front of properties, move doors over in 2 weeks. Like, these guys are incredible, right? So you have to just, kind of just do what you want to do in the business, right? But flip homes. I mean, it's a good business. And don't flip homes because you see, what are those big companies that say, read my book and I'll teach you how to flip? Like, don't do that, okay? This is not rocket science, right? Look at market trends. Look at comps. If you don't know how to look at comps, call agents that know what they're doing. Ask them. Call lenders, right? Call people that look at comps all day long. Look at them. It's just data, right? You're just looking at a bunch of data, And okay, am I pretty close? Am I off? You're off, just don't do it. It's okay, there's another deal. Just don't do it, right? And do what makes you comfortable. If it's 5 properties a year, do it. If it's wholesaling properties, do it. You know, if it's partnering and you got some capital, do it. Whatever makes you money. You don't have to be the biggest or anything. It doesn't matter. You guys have never even heard of me, right? I make sure of that, right? I make sure we fly under the radar. Why? Because why not? You know what I mean? I mean, sometimes, you know, you'll see us and we'll have some flashy stuff, but most of the time, no, because it's not about that. This is my life. I put my kids through school doing this, right? That's how I pay my mortgage every day. You know what I mean? So this is like a real true job. It's a job, right? I love it. I love taking properties from nothing to something. It's my passion, right? So, you know, but guess what? Real estate, everyone wants to do it because it's the American dream. Every book we ever read, we saw the pilgrims come over, we put stake in the ground, we get real estate. So here you are, right? Get some real estate, you know, put a stake in the ground, make some money, you know, call me, I'll help you. And if I don't have time, then text me, I'll text you back probably. You know, I mean, you know, this is a team sport, you know, I like team sports, right? The more team people you have, the more money you're gonna make, the more lenders, the more title reps, the more agents, you know, just work with everybody because you never know. I met this dude, this is no joke, man. This dude looked like a homeless dude, okay? Like this like 4 weeks ago in Laguna. I'm just hanging out, not talking real estate, nothing. He's just, hey man, what's going on? I'm talking with them, you know, rapping with them. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, you know, check out, I love Laguna. I just moved to Laguna, blah, blah, blah. And this dude's probably 35 maybe a little older. I don't know, he looks literally homeless, okay? You know, and I'm not judging him. I'm talking and we're having a real conversation. And I said, so what do you do? He said, I just sold my company. I said, for how much? $150 million. I said, what? And I'm looking, I'm like, no, usually I think he was lying, but when you use that kind of number, right, that's a big number, right? Most people say I sold for 10 million, 20, 30 million. I'm like, really? All right, well, what are you doing now? I'm looking for someone to help me invest my money in real estate. That's what he says to me. I go, huh, really? And I'm looking, I'm like, huh, where are you from? Santa Clara. .com kid, right? I'm older, so I call him a kid. I'm like, huh, so guess what I did? So, well, let's talk about it. Let me come over to your house. All right, cool. He texts me his address, right? On an old iPhone, not all these new iPhones, the one you push the button on, right? I'm like, does he really got any money or not, right? I went to this dude's house. This house is probably, I didn't comp it, but if I was to guess how much this house cost, he paid $13, $14 million for this house. This house is in Laguna, has a unobstructed view, 360 view of the ocean. Like this dude's got a house, like a real house with a movie theater and all this stuff. And guess what? Now he says, Keith, let's do some business, right? So you just never know who you're gonna meet. And you just never know, right? And some people are undercover and some aren't. I talk to everybody. I don't care who you are, what you do. I talk to you, I'll help you if I can. I'll point you in the right direction. I'll give you my connections as long as you don't abuse them and things like that because life is too short. Why not, right? You know, Jesus put me here, right? Jesus put you all here, right? If you believe that. I do, right? So let's help each other. You know what I mean? We're not better than each other. Let's help each other, you know? I come to these things because I want to learn. I want to learn the new trick. I want to learn about wholesaling. I don't know about wholesaling that much. I don't do it. I don't know anyone who does. I mean, Joe now, I met Joe. Joe's calling me people are calling me with properties. Hey, Keith, you know, this is cool. Right now, I got some new network I never had before. Maybe we'll make some money together. Maybe we'll make him some money. Maybe I'll make you guys some money, right? You never know, right? You know, I got investors for everything. I'm an investor, right? Now you have a guy that can help you, right? That I can do any property you want. Doesn't matter. I don't care how big. If it's a good deal and you call me, we're gonna buy it together, for sure, right? So it doesn't matter, right? So this is why these things are important. You know, I miss these things during COVID, you know? So yeah, let me know how I can help. I got some cards, I'll put some cards out. And yeah, if you guys wanna, I've got a bunch of properties for sale. If you guys are looking for, you know, properties that are, you know, I mean, they're market rate, but I'll sell them cheaper. That 4 or 5 property, I'll sell it to this room for 4, right? It's $500,000 off right now, right? Why? I just move it. I bought it right. You know what I mean? You know, if I can help you guys make some money, I'll do it. You know, I've got a bunch of properties, like a bunch of them. You know, we've got a portfolio of properties we keep fixing and we sell them. We fix them and we sell them. You know what I mean? If you guys want to see some of our work, come to Corona Del Mar. I'm always most of the time between Newport Beach, Corona Del Mar, Laguna right now. And if you guys want to see something, hey Keith, I'm in the area, I'll take you to some properties. You guys can see some of the stuff we buy. See some of our work, how quick the workers are. You know what I mean? I can show you some stuff that I bought and I let some guy fix it that I probably shouldn't have, and it's taking too long. You know what I mean? You know, I can show you that. I can show you the mistakes that we've made. I can point out some mistakes that, you know, workers make and things that they shouldn't do, you know? I mean, it's just trial and error. You just have to learn this stuff, you know what I mean? But if you're gonna do this, try to learn all of it. Learn the trades. Learn what the trades make. Learn where the materials come from. There's so many material people, right? Learn where to buy these floors, where to buy. I mean, people used to tell me, oh, those quartz countertops, I mean, how much you pay for those? $1,000 a slab. Ha! Yeah, right. How much do you really pay for those? $350 to $400. That's the real cost. You just have to know someone, right? So if you want quartz countertops, now you know me. I know where to get them, right? You gotta know where to get this stuff, right? So it's just, you know, that's what this is about. It's a team sport, you know? So don't ever think it's not. So yeah, I'm glad to help you guys.
Thank you, Keith.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.